You want to know the truth? When I sat down to write this, I pulled up the spreadsheet. The one I made back when I was still a sensible man, still running the numbers the way I used to run Heartline Marine. I had columns for cost of living, healthcare, visa headaches, the whole thing. And you know what that spreadsheet told me? It told me Thailand was the better deal on paper. It told me to go to Chiang Mai and join the other expats and live a very tidy, very sensible retirement. I'm sitting in Darwin as I record this. The black sand is warm under my feet, and the bankas are coming in. And I'm here to tell you that what that spreadsheet could not account for is the difference between a good decision and the right one. So, Philippines versus Thailand for retirement in 2026. I've lived in both, spent time in Thailand, the whole tourist trail, the fancy hospitals, the temples, the whole thing. And I ended up here. Let me tell you why. Right off the bat, the numbers, the ones you'll find in the expatriate groups. 2026, Retirement Abroad Index. They're real. Philippines took the top spot with a 78 out of 100, just barely beating Thailand's 77. So close it might as well be a tie on a report card. But the life you're buying for that 1-point difference, that's where the story gets interesting. Let's start with the wallet. It's the first thing everyone wants to know. Here in the Philippines, a retired couple can live very, very well on about $1,500 a month. In Thailand, you're looking at something closer to $2,000 for the same lifestyle. And that's not some fantasy number from a travel blog. I've lived it. My whole month, the house, the help, the food, the whole thing, comes to around $1,500. And I don't feel like I'm missing a thing. The visa? This is the first big fork in the road. The Philippine Retirement Visa, the SREV. It's the whole reason I'm here. You're over 50, you've got a pension of $800 a month, you park $15,000 in a Philippine bank, and that's it. You're in TUND. It's a permanent, refundable deposit. No annual renewals. No 90-day reporting. You just live. Now, Thailand's retirement visa, the OA, it's a different animal. You need to have 800,000 Thai baht, about $24,000, sitting in a Thai bank account, or a monthly income that adds up to that. And you have to do it every single year. The paperwork, the renewals, the 90-day check-ins at immigration. It's a second job, and the salary is bureaucracy. Thailand actually scored a perfect 20 out of 20 on the health insurance requirement part of that index. But what that really means is the government mandates you have a huge, expensive policy to get the visa in the first place. The Philippines isn't as demanding, and it shows. Now, I'd be lying to you if I said the visa wasn't the biggest reason a lot of us ended up here. But the language is what keeps us. In the Philippines, English isn't just spoken. It's an official language. It's on the signs, it's in the courts, it's in the hospitals. You come here, you can talk to your doctor, you can open a bank account, you can argue with the electric company, all in English. It makes a world of difference. And we had a man in the village, an older fella named Thibaut. He spoke practically no English, but we got by. We got by because the will to communicate was so strong. But in Thailand, even in Bangkok, you can run into a wall of language. Outside the tourist zones, outside the expat ghettos, you need to learn Thai. And I'm not a young man. I don't have the energy to learn a tonal language with a completely different alphabet. I barely figured out Cebuano, and I still mess it up. The Philippines is the choice for the lazy American, and I am perfectly fine being that. Here's where the decision gets really personal. It comes down to your body. Thailand wins on healthcare, hands down. If you have a serious heart condition, or you're worried about cancer, or you need surgery that's a little more complicated, the hospitals in Bangkok are world-class. They're JCI accredited, which is the gold standard in international medicine. You can go to Bumrungrad and get treatment that rivals anything in the US or Europe. The Philippines has good hospitals, especially in Manila and Cebu. But the depth of specialist care thins out fast once you leave the big cities. I had a heart attack 3 years ago in Darwin. I was lucky. The community saved my life, and they got me to a hospital in Dumaguete in time. But I know for a fact that if I'd been in Thailand, the hospital would have been better equipped, even in a smaller city. So, you have to ask yourself, do you want to live on a tropical beach, or do you want to be near the best operating theater in Southeast Asia? It's a brutal question, but it's the right one. And then you have to ask yourself, how do you want to spend your Sundays? Here I go to church. I'm not a churchy man. Never was. But in a town like Darwin, the church is the heartbeat of the whole place. And I started going. The whole town in their good clothes, the singing pouring out the open windows into the heat, and afterward everybody standing around in the shade, catching up on everything. Thailand has a different vibe. The expat scene is bigger, more organized. There are golf clubs and wine tastings and darts tournaments. A lot of guys love it, but for me, it had the energy of a waiting room, men comparing their knee replacements and their stock portfolios. It's the same energy I left behind in Naples. In the Philippines, you're not just another expat. You're an oddity, sure, a source of endless amusement to the neighbors. But you're also, if you're not a complete jerk, family. They decide you're one of theirs. Look, I'm an old man now. I'll likely die in that little house on the black sand with the boats coming in. And I expect that when I do, the hallway will fill up again. It filled up for me the night of my heart attack. 6 people in my house in under 10 minutes, in the middle of the night. They carried me, physically carried me to a van. And I woke up in a hospital room, and the hallway outside was full. The fishermen in their flip-flops. My neighbors. A dozen people who dropped everything to sit through the night for me. Could I have gotten better medical care in Thailand? Absolutely. Could I have found a larger, more organized expat community? Probably. But would a hallway have filled up with people who love me? That's not a question Thailand can answer in the affirmative. So, when people ask me, Russ, you could afford anywhere on earth and you picked that? I just smile. I picked the place where I'm not alone. The numbers say Philippines is number 1. The index says it's just a point ahead of Thailand. But that point, that 1 point, is the difference between a good decision on a spreadsheet and a life you can feel in your bones. If you have a serious health condition and a high monthly budget, go to Thailand. That's the sensible choice. But if you want to be woken up by roosters and kids screaming with laughter on the beach, if you want to be part of a community that will hold you up when you fall, if you want to belong, not just visit, then you come here. You come to Darwin, and you see what it means to be rich.